Hello and welcome to The Zone Weekly. This is the week of April 21st, 2023. We have a lot of really exciting news and statistics and data and all sorts of stuff to talk about today. This might be a little longer than usual. The very first thing, obviously, is we officially rolled out our own in-house OTC system this morning. And I say this morning from the US time. If you're international, Europe time, that would have been later in the day. But we did roll that out today, and I have absolutely nothing negative to say about ThorFi. The team has been wonderful, professional, and extremely helpful. But given the fact that XETA Capital is very unique in that we are OTC only, we just needed a little bit more of a custom in-house solution developed that allows us to pivot quicker and really, our requirements as an OTC only project is going to be vastly different than any other project that uses OTC. So if you are a project that is looking for an OTC system and you happen to be listening to this, I would strongly recommend go check out ThorFi. We ran that system for several months, almost 4 months, just shy of 4 months, and put almost $5 million through it. That is significant. That means it works, and it works well. It's just, given the fact that we are OTC only, as well as the fact that we are IPOing, the more intellectual property you have, the more custom designed solutions you have, the better. So there's multiple reasons. But the new OTC system is up and functional, and we did have to refund everybody their XETA back. So if you had XETA tokens listed in Thor's OTC system, those tokens were sent back to your wallet. So if you want to list them, you will need to go relist them. If you want to compound or go into pools or what have you, they are in your wallet now. And there will be a tutorial video. I'll try to get that out today if possible, but certainly over the weekend if not. Going over the OTC system, there'll be blogs as well as new knowledge base articles, and we'll update the Discord channels in addition. Speaking of OTC, we'll go over that data first. And before I do that, by the way, there has been some users having issues claiming their XETA from their zones today. There seems to be a hiccup on the Avalanche blockchain from what I'm noticing. People even who are trying to send AVAX between wallets, it's not arriving until like an hour later. The AVAX status page doesn't seem to be reporting any incidents at the moment. It does appear that some centralized exchanges have temporarily, I don't use the word suspended, but temporarily stopped withdrawals on AVAX C-chain. So anyway, there does seem to be some issue on the Avalanche blockchain, and that does seem to be impacting some claims for certain users from their zones. If you have a ticket opened in our Discord and you notice that your XETA does show up, would you kindly close your ticket out? That would really help us out. So that way when our developers go in there, they know which tickets are still active and need to have immediate attention. That would be of a great help of us. So thank you, if you wouldn't mind. And I'm sure that will be resolved quickly. Avalanche has been having some off and on issues in the last couple weeks. So OTC, guys, we are just under $5 million in volume in the OTC. That's incredible. 4.7 million right now to be exact, and we're still around 61,000 daily, give or take. We've seen some activity in the OTC given, some new users coming in, but also in addition to that, folks who are withdrawing from lower tiered pools and then coming back into purchase tokens, moving up to higher tier pools. We do have a solution we're working on for that to make that more streamlined, actually. When you are looking to go, say, from a 10% to a 15, or a 15 to a 20, or 20 to 25, or maybe a 10 to 20 to 25, or what have you, a pool, rather than closing out positions and things like that in the fund. We're working on a way to make it more kind of efficient and quicker for you to just upgrade, potentially. So more on that coming soon. I think you guys are going to love that, actually. Can't say too much more, but you guys are going to love that. As the fund is growing, we're looking for ways to improve, obviously make the system more efficient and more streamlined, and then that will be a piece to that. So we're looking at, again, 61,000 daily OTC volume on average and just under $5 million. I imagine by the time We have our zone weekly for next week. We will be over $5 million. And by the way, we are at $125,000 in the lake level currently. And I imagine also by next week we'll see the mad rush into the lake because of the XETA value increase of 14 cents. Obviously, folks want to wait for the maximum value they can get if the lake closes at the end of the month. People are trying to wait until the last second, and I get the reason why. Just kind of keep in mind, not financial advice, but just something to bear in mind with strategy, just strictly speaking strategy here, is that if everybody is thinking of doing the same thing, you're going to have a lot of competition, right? Sort of like crypto projects, to be honest. If you have every project that is doing the same thing, you have a lot of competition. If you're one of the only few doing something, you have almost no competition. So if everybody's considering, jumping into the lake at the very last second, just know you could potentially miss it. It's just a thought. You might consider going to maybe a little earlier, or considering that in your strategy. And obviously, you have to make that decision, but for yourself, it's just a thought. Here's some really interesting data. So obviously, we know weekly TVL growth just over 6%. Again, that's the total value locked in relation to zones. So you'll always see the TVL growth sort of in line with the weekly zone growth, in addition to the fact that the value does increase on the XETA token each week, and you have to take that also into consideration as well. But we're just over 4%. Again, that's very much in line. If you go back to the past zone weeklies, aside from the fact of we've had some weeks that are outliers, all over 4% is very much in line with what we have been experiencing so far. And I expect that to be on a continuous upward trajectory, but on a very sustainable and very healthy and realistic growth level. And in addition to that, we have crossed quite a threshold. And that is, we're actually over $1 million, but $1 million in HFT profit payouts. $1 million. That's, and again, just to kind of clarify, that means anyone who has been in the HFT pool-wise, $1 million has been paid out in withdrawals. Now, some people might be like, if they were running a crypto project, be like, oh my gosh, we have $1 million going back to our community. I get excited when I see that, because that means, there's a few things. Number one, people withdrawing from lower pools to go into higher pools. That's a purpose and a reason behind that as well. But also people making it real. I had mentioned this on the previous podcast I was on. Please go check it out with Crypto Bros. And it said, I think it's important to make things real as you go along. There's a lot of projects that would, I don't know, I'd use the word shame, I guess, their community for doing that. But I think it's important to make it real as you go along. And obviously, we have the new scheduler, the compounding scheduler inside of the pool system. And that allows you to decide how long you would like your profits to compound before the withdrawal feature is unlocked. That allows us to know, okay, you've decided to opt for a quarterly withdrawal. Those funds can be traded for at least a full quarter without any kind of withdrawal being requested. So that gives a lot more flexibility in the trading. It allows more aggressive trading, and allows a little more manual trading to be placed alongside of the automated trading system. So if you did that on a 6-month level or 12-month level, same thing. It gives the idea that, okay, we know that this is how long we have to trade this on a more aggressive scale. And it's aggressive to the degree where we wanted to try to find a way to have that 25% tier actually hit 25%, right? Not aggressive to the degree where you're going to lose funds, but just to the degree that, hey, let's try to hit that tier at 25%, if at all possible, and then that allows us to do so. And of course, if you choose monthly, then the pools will act as they have been acting, where basically what happens is your lockup period, I even like using the word lockup period, it's really a compounding schedule, right, will activate, and you will be able to withdraw 1 month later if you were to choose that feature. And then that would act as sort of the same system that you're used to right now. But keep that in mind too if you're going into pools. If you're not touching things for a long time anyway, you might consider selecting a longer compounding schedule, simply because it allows us to know we can trade funds a little differently for that particular block as well. And by the way, if you choose a certain schedule inside of the pools, that particular pool has to stay at that schedule. So for example, if you went into a pool and you chose quarterly, you came back a couple hours later and you want to put some more XETA in there, you have to keep that same schedule for that pool. And then you can choose obviously different schedules for different pools. But different users choosing different schedules on the same pool is not a problem because of the way the funds are separated out. We know we know which funds are going to be in there for what period of time, if that makes sense. So it allows us to still keep everything as is and give you some flexibility in your compounding decisions. So again, let's go over some of our updates. Just to summarize, we have weekly zone growth at just over 4%, in line with the weekly TVL, or total value locked growth, in relation to zones. Just over 6%. We are hovering just under $5 million in the OTC, total OTC volume, with just over 61,000 in daily OTC volume, along with our brand new OTC in-house custom system now deployed. And finally, the best data of all, $1 million in HFT pool payouts to users who have zones and who have been in pools. Very, very amazing and incredible, if I can say so myself. This is the Zone Weekly, April 21st, the week of April 21st, 2023. We'll catch you next time. And until next time, guys, take care. God bless. See you then.